Welcome to Left On Wed.
Bite-sized tips for people getting hitched. Georgia Fletcher.
Adam Sini.
In the same room.
How did we get here?
In this part of town.
We are not experts in the world of wedding planning. We do offer coordination. Your beautiful wife, Ange, through Lovers Co. Fumbling with your phone, that's okay. We need a phone for that. But we've got a good friend, Kerstyn, from Hire a Bridesmaid. She has built an empire.
Yeah.
An incredible team of coordinators, planners, run sheet extraordinaires, and she has prepared a voice note all about the difference between a wedding planner versus a wedding coordinator.
Kerstyn, you there? Pick up the phone.
Hello, my name is Kerstyn Walsh. I am a wedding planner and coordinator with my business Hire a Bridesmaid, and my gorgeous and super talented friends Adam and Georgia have asked me to let you know the difference between a wedding planner and a wedding coordinator, also known as a day of coordinator. The biggest difference is that a wedding planner actually helps you plan the wedding. So they jump in beforehand, they're helping you find the venue, source suppliers, work out your budgets, maybe even negotiate contracts, make sure that you have all the boxes ticked before the day. And then the day of coordinator or on the day coordinator comes in usually, for us, it's about 3 months beforehand, where we jump in, we're putting together a full run sheet for your day and we become your logistics and timeline managers. So what that means is whilst we're not helping you book any suppliers, we're definitely confirming plans with them and making sure that everybody is on the same page. And then on the day itself, the on the day coordinator does all the running around and all the last minute tasks and all the worrying about things so that you guys don't have to. So that is the difference between a wedding planner and a coordinator.
Thanks, Kerstyn.
Thanks, Kerstyn. We love Kerstyn from Hire a
succinct,
Bridesmaid.
wasn't it?
She's
Hire a
very
Bridesmaid.
articulate. She's got a way with words because she's also a celebrant too.
Yeah,
Could be why.
She does everything. So I want to unpack a little bit of that. She was very good at explaining the differences. But let's go through that a little bit more, Georgia, because if you don't know this, Georgia herself is a wedding coordinator and she is brilliant at it. So I want to open this up to you a little bit. Firstly, can we go through wedding planning? In the lead up, can you give us a little quick overview of what a wedding planner will do for you if you book one?
This will also depend on how organised and your timeline for when you are bringing in that person or that vendor to be your planner. My perception of what a planner will do is they will help you find your venue. Mm-hmm. They will help you source your vendors. They will help you with budgets, invoicing, run sheets, and do the overall planning and locking things in. A coordinator is someone who carries all that weight to execute all of those wonderful plans on the day.
And usually, if I'm right, correct me here if I'm wrong, the planner, if you have a planner, will be there on the day or someone from their team in the coordination capacity as well. You probably have both, right?
Two separate services.
Yeah.
And what I do find is sometimes when someone hasn't got a planner but they have a coordinator, they will expect their coordinator to help with the planning. So be very, very mindful that your coordinator is there to carry the weight on the day. Yep. For me, for my business, and I know some other businesses structure differently with their hourly packages and what they offer in terms of adding styling on, but my coordination package is an 8-hour package. Often the sweet spot between 12:30 and 8:30. I arrive at 12:30, greet all the vendors, check that everything is running smoothly, that the couple are feeling okay, and then I put my celebrant hat on. Usually it's very rare that I am just the coordinator. Yep. Usually I'm both, or I'm the MC. And then I put my celebrant hat on, do my thing as the celebrant, and then put on my sneakers, get my bum bag on, get my clipboard out, and I'm in coordinator mode.
And we've worked with a lot of coordinators, and I must say the difference between, especially with a DIY venue and whatnot, having coordinator and not for a vendor, it's light and day. Like it is so helpful having, otherwise a lot of the time, if you don't have someone running the day, then you find the vendors are doing above and beyond because they have to pull that extra weight that's not being pulled. So like just to go through when you might need one, so a wonderful venue like we're at today, the Long Reef Golf Club, right? They have in-house venue managers and staff. So would you need one for here?
No.
Probably not, right? You might, if you have a wedding planner that's helping with the planning, they might come and they might do your styling, so they might be here and they might oversee some stuff and work with them. Saying that, I have seen coordinators come into venues where there are staff and venue managers and work with them to bring the vision of the couple to life. So sometimes that you can work with them, and that's fine as well if you want those extra set of hands.
It is completely up to you, and something that I ask couples when they are inquiring about coordination services, I ask one, do they have a coordinator on site? And two, when do they leave?
Yeah.
Because if they are just there Monday to Friday and not even there on the wedding day, or maybe they're there till about 5:30, 6:30, then that's when you might need someone to carry that extra weight for those last few hours. If you are, and no one's going to be unhappy to see a coordinator at a wedding, I don't think.
No.
They are the saving grace. Yesterday I got a beautiful review from Ripple Weddings. Wonderful Eddie Blake that I worked with as a photographer wrote a Google review for me.
That's so lovely.
And he said, the fact that you checked in to make sure we were fed and hydrated didn't go unnoticed. So that was really, really
That's so
kind
nice.
that you have someone there to not only advocate for you as the couple, but for your vendor team so that the venue can look after the catering side and their staff.
Eddie Blake has a wonderful wedding podcast
Yes,
as well.
unveiled with his beautiful wife, Lucy.
And
Go
it's
and
amazing.
listen.
Yep. Go have a listen to them as well. Yes, I do love that. I am curious, Georgia, at what point, what sort of venues do you need a coordinator at? Where you look at it and you go, yeah, I need it. You definitely need one for this.
DIY private property, without a doubt.
Yeah. If you are bringing everything there and there's no one on site, say you're bringing in your mobile caterer like the Wilderness Chef and you're bringing in Henry Clive Caravan Bar, just shouting out, a bit of name dropping there, Adam.
Do it.
Then you need someone to coordinate. Where do these people go when they get there? Where do they set up? What time are they coming? You might be calling them if they're running late, right? You need to have that person who's a buffer in between. So yes, and then they're executing the run sheet for you as well.
And of course, I can only speak from my own experience as a coordinator. What I do, and don't expect this from all coordinators, of course, because everyone has their own systems, like a Celebrant or any other vendor that you are choosing. But as a coordinator for me, depending on when that couple have locked me in, we will be working on their run sheet, what they already know, and picking them up from where they are. At that point in time, what have they got? What do they need help with driving them to the wedding?
Yeah.
So I look at the run sheet, we gather all the vendor information. One thing that I really try and advocate and get very clear is everybody's arrival and departure times.
Love it.
Very important. If you have booked your photographer a 6-hour package, what does that mean for your getting ready photos and your dance floor photos? So we work around that, making sure that everybody knows when they're arriving and when they're leaving.
Can I ask a question I'm curious about? Does a on-the-day coordinator, if you book them, do they do your run sheet? Do they work on that?
It really depends. I will often help because I would rather do it than there not be one at all.
Yeah.
But it really depends on the couple.
Yeah.
If I'm MC, I do help them with their reception run sheet, absolutely. And what I do, again, it depends on where they're at.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick them up from where they are. If
if
they
they need it.
have started collating all that information in an Excel spreadsheet, or they know they've got it in their email somewhere, we bring all that information together, because at the end of the day, as the coordinator, that's going to help me.
And what I'll usually get from when I have a coordinator, they'll take over, 6 weeks, 8 weeks from the date. It changes for every company, right? I got an email from Your Day by Chloe yesterday, right?
Oh, she's great.
And I work with her quite a bit. She's lovely. And she emailed me yesterday with all the vendors saying, hi, I'm now the point of contact from this day on. Here's a run sheet. Can you please confirm all details are correct? Which I get a lot from people like you, from coordinators who step in at the last minute. Not last minute, but, to do the day, which is lovely for us to know who's going to be there, what's happening. And for me, I know, okay, sweet, thank God they have a coordinator. It's all fine. Planned by Paige, I worked with yesterday as well on the South Coast. Love her. She's fantastic.
She is very good for South Coast weddings.
Yes. So, look, coordinators, God, I think they're the most underrated vendor on the team when they're there.
I often say too, is if you are not having a coordinator, go and find a paid MC, because at least you know that when things are getting a little bit loosey-goosey throughout the evening, you've got someone to hold the reins, keep things in check, and that formalities are running smoothly.
Yes, but also a paid MC does not do the job of a coordinator.
Please don't expect that. That is a really big expectation to place on an MC.
Yep.
They are there to run the formalities to time. A coordinator is there to pick up the pieces around and run around like a headless chicken to fill in the gaps. Yesterday I was sorting rubbish.
What?
I just do stuff.
What do
I
you
light
mean?
candles. Well, it's all about conflict like problem solving. I want to call it problem solving.
Yeah.
Yesterday, the bins were overflowing, Adam.
Yeah.
We hadn't organised a skip bin. So what we needed to do was I got 2 bins and I said to the caterers, okay, we don't have a recycling and we don't have a bin system. So now we need to execute one. We need a bin for a garbage bag. We need a bin for the bottles because the bins were getting full at a private property wedding. We kindly asked one of the brothers who had a big ute so that we could start putting the rubbish in the back of the ute. We just problem solve.
Mm-hmm.
May not have been in my job description, but I'm not going to let rubbish overflow at a wedding.
And that's what I think the people who become coordinators and planners, they are problem solvers of the highest degree, right? They're just people who are constantly thinking about every single picture of that day and what it looks like. And they are putting out fires that you don't even know happened, and you won't know that happened most likely. Or maybe the next day, if you have a phone call with them, they might be like, oh my God, you would not believe what happened here. And you'd be like, oh my God, amazing that that person did all that for me without me knowing, right?
Yeah.
They might even like, if I go back to my wedding day, we had a on the day coordinator, Brooke from Planning with Purpose, who I love. She's amazing. And our day was rained out, and we put the call in her hands before the day and be like, okay, if it's raining, you make the call whether it's inside or outside, right? That call was out of our hands, wonderful, and she made the right call. She brought it in, she set up the ceremony space for us inside instead, and did that. So
And that's what I did yesterday too.
yeah, right? It's just like, it's someone who's just using initiative, right? To do things. And sometimes you might even think, oh, there's not much to do in this bit here. They're going to be walking around and finding things to do. They're going to be making sure that everyone is on the same page vendor-wise, that things are running, that people are happy, because you just don't know what's going to happen on the day. And you have a basically professional fire putter outer. A fireman. You have a fireman. You have a fire person, fire lady, fire woman, you're fire. Georgia, I'm curious for on the day, is there anything like specific that they might be looking after in terms of timings or anything like that people might not have thought that they do?
So what I find, and again, speaking from my own experience, when I am not the celebrant, I am assisting with the coordination of the entrance.
Yeah.
So making sure that we have everybody in check, in their order, ready to walk down the aisle.
Yeah.
If I am also the celebrant and I can't be there to help fluff the dress and know what to do with the bouquet, we delegate that job to a bridesmaid to know that when we get up the aisle that we've got bridesmaid 1 or friend number 1 helping with the dress, friend number 2 coming and grabbing that bouquet.
What about like entrances into reception? Is that something that coordinator
That's
might help
also
with?
another one.
Yeah.
So I was more referring to the ceremony entrance,
Yeah.
but with the reception entrance, we absolutely get the choreography down pat. Yesterday when I was coordinating, so my celebrant hat was off.
Yeah, what does that look like?
So we worked out where they wanted to enter from because the marquee was open on all sides. They had 4 different options on where to walk in
Love
from.
that.
So they came up some stairs. It was very dramatic. We got the groomsmen. They all wanted a Great Northern in their stubby cooler that was personalised, that the groom had organised for them. They wanted that on a tray so they could dance to their beer. So I made sure that the beer was ready. They danced their way in and then they came back with confetti cannons.
Oh, wow.
The bridesmaids came in. We needed to make sure I had a box of all their bits and pieces, from phones to lipstick to making sure they had their bouquets.
Yep.
And I asked if there was anything they needed. We needed 2 champagne bottles because they wanted to do the champagne spray. So once we ticked off that list, from lippy to phones to bouquets to champagne spray, we had the bridesmaids come in, groomsmen on standby, confetti cannons, here come the newlyweds.
God, step count must be big for a coordinator,
It
right?
was a lot.
Jeez Louise.
I went home and had Uber Eats waiting on the doorstep.
Good for
I
you.
was
You
exhausted.
deserved it.
So that's ceremony, reception, entrance. And then if you don't know what to do, find something was my motto.
Yep.
Anytime I'm coordinating, there is always
Yep.
something to do.
Yep.
And if there's not something to do, there's someone to look after.
Yep.
So always checking in with the vendors, caterers, do you need anything? Photographers, have you eaten? Have you had water?
Yep.
Making sure that the parents of the couple are comfortable as well. The speech givers have their speech ready.
Beautiful.
Passcode off, brightness up, or we've got it printed
Legit.
and ready.
Things that people don't think of. It's ridiculous. The amount of
Lighting the
things.
candles. There was so many things that we needed to do because it was very wet yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I was going around with a towel, making sure everything was dry around the outside of the marquee so people didn't slip over.
And from a vendor's point of view, I sit down and I might be having dinner with the photographer and stuff. A coordinator never joins us, right? they're always doing something else. They are so busy. It's like sometimes like I'll be doing the ceremony and you can see them do that and then they run off and they're putting out a fire somewhere else. Or these people work so hard. Like you would not regret having one. Like they're so valuable to your team.
I think I sat down twice for about 3 minutes each before someone came up and asked me a question, which is what I'm there for.
Exactly.
But if you think about a normal work day, there will always be a lunch break.
Yeah.
So that often happens in the worlds of weddings where people ask, why am I paying for vendor meals and things like that? Because they are there to work.
Yeah.
And coordinators and planners, they're working nonstop because they are advocates for you and they are one of the most underrated vendors that you could add to your team.
Georgia.
Yes.
How do people get you as their coordinator? I think I'm sold.
How do people get me as a coordinator? Well, they inquire.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm already their celebrant because I do hate leaving with FOMO after someone's wedding. I love being able to stay as MC or coordinator and making sure that I'm there to support you from the start to finish. Mm-hmm. So you could inquire with me, and if I'm unavailable, I always have incredible options.
Yep. And we'll put them in our show notes as well.
Yes, that's a great idea. So if you are looking for a coordinator or looking for a planner, head to the show notes.
Love. And if you are looking for a podcast that serenades you at night, this is it.
That is beautiful.
Georgia, I've just looked at the topics for next week, and next week is huge.
Is it?
Yeah.
How big?
So big that I have to run home right now and take a cold bath.
Hey, thanks for listening.
We are so happy that you listened. I'm over the moon. In fact, if you want a little bit more, follow us on the socials. Where are we?
You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, Left on Wed Podcast.
And if you want to inquire with our services for Celebrant MC and coordination, you can find Georgia at Georgia Fletcher Celebrant.
And you can find Adam at Married by Adam.
Hey, if you have any ideas, questions, topics for episodes, please slide into our DMs. You can send us an email as well, which is
leftonwedpodcast@gmail.com.
And if you're loving the podcast, please tell your friends, tell people who are getting hitched. We need you to spread the word like wildfire. Get it out there.
We really want to say a big thank you to Long Reef Golf Club as well for letting us record the podcast here at their incredible wedding venue. So inquire with them today if you're looking for the perfect wedding venue for your private event or your wedding.
See you there soon, Georgia.
See you there.